And this story just never ends.
Of American society, they whining about Taylor Swift, man.
Importance of the argument. I'm going to say something that's very unpopular, but it's factually needs to be addressed. I don't expect white people to have the sensibilities of black people. I don't expect somebody white to get it about black people the way I expect black people to get it about black people.
This right here is going to be a special video, which of course calls for two people to be called out at once. One person, of course, I kind of expected this type of nonsense out of, and another person who is, let's just say, revealed himself to be just as bad as the one that I'm initially going to be calling out. I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith, and I'm also talking about Pastor Darrell Scott, who we'll get to here probably in the second half of the video, or I'll just say the final third, because obviously there's a lot more to work with Stephen A., because obviously this was an epic fail. So, here's the deal. We had a Super Bowl on Sunday. Super Bowl's already over with. We had a lot of pandering in that Super Bowl. We also had this ad called He Gets Us. Don't worry, we'll talk more about that later on this week, because I got to give you guys a couple of quick updates on how the week is going to go this week, because obviously this is going to be the only video that gets released on Wednesday, and there's only going to be one video released on Thursday and one video released on Friday. The reason why is obviously I've got to go out of town, and I'm making all three videos ahead of time, meaning two will be made tonight, and of course the video that's set to come out on Friday will either be made tomorrow morning or be made on Thursday night when I get back home. Either way, though, these videos will be out. It'll be one video a day for probably the next 4 or 5 days, just giving you guys a heads up. So here's the deal. The Black National Anthem has obviously been a hotly discussed topic this week, especially here on the platform, and many people have praised Stephen A. Smith for, let's just say, having a somewhat rational take on the issue, but once again, a lot of these commentators spoke too soon, because obviously these people always show you exactly who they are. Now, let's just go ahead and put this in focus. I don't think that this right here is the real issue in the country, as in like it's the biggest issue in the country. I mean, my God, we got all kinds of other crazy stuff going on. We've got Israel, Gaza. We've got rampant inflation. We've obviously got this illegal immigration issue, which I will be getting back to later on this week, talking about because of a situation in Massachusetts. But still, we've got a lot of things going on. And once again, this right here is yet again another distraction. But speaking of that distraction, I think that another content creator who I find it odd that his content does not go up the algorithm the way it should go up. I'm not talking about myself, but we'll get to here in a second. I actually had the perfect call out this entire situation. I'm just simply here to not only add context and show you guys why it is that Mr. Smith is out of touch, but also why it is that we have two personalities out there right now that are, let's just say they're playing the victim while also at the exact same time projecting onto the people that they claim to have in their camp. Don't worry, we will get to that more towards the end of the video, but we got to break down exactly what was said in this response. So what was the response? Stephen A. Smith is obviously upset with Megyn Kelly, the former Fox News personality, because she wasn't exactly okay with the Black National Anthem being played at the Super Bowl. Now, I already did a video on this. I talked about the politics of it, and I talked about why it was that it's really the timing that's the problem here. That's the real reason why it is that people did not like the Black National Anthem being played, which, of course, Pastor Darrell Scott says is just a good old-fashioned hymn, but maybe you should be with us in calling out the BS rather than saying that you think it should be played and that we should, quite frankly, stop whining, as he said here.
Final segment featuring our SmackDown of the Week. Third runner-up for SmackDown of the Week is I'm going to give out a collective SmackDown to the grand old party, the Republican Party, because we have become the party.
He also decided to throw in Taylor Swift too, which Taylor Swift thing obviously is over with. But if you want to blame somebody for that, blame Jack Posobiec. But don't worry, we will get to the woke pastor more towards the end of the video. Back to Stephen A. So Stephen A. is obviously upset about this. He's obviously upset, even after some people said that he had a rational take on the issue, because, of course, people don't listen to the full episode of his podcast, or they don't seem to realize that what he says on the podcast is different from what he says on ESPN Woke Take. That's the real truth of the situation. Also, like Mr. Scott, who says that we're all a bunch of whiners, but then again, if you see these tweets, you will obviously see that this right here is a guy that, let's just say, not exactly what he tweets out is exactly what he says on his show. We'll get to him in a second, but let's get to Stephen A. Smith first. So, What is Stephen A. Smith wrong about? Well, he's wrong about the fact that this issue, she's not something that, quite frankly, should be, let's just say, viewed as anything more than an attempt to try to gaslight the American public. Here's the first one.
Particularly in conservative circles. Andra Day and her fabulous self sang what is widely recognized as the Black National. Y'all remember who she is? She declined to stand for the quote-unquote Black National Anthem. Colorado's GOP rep Lauren Boebert tweeted her objections, stating, quote, America only has one national anthem. Why is the NFL trying to divide us by playing multiple? Do football, not wokeness. Okay? But of course, then there was Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly is a very popular podcaster who used to work at Fox News. She's a former Fox News host. I've had the pleasure of meeting her on several occasions. She said, quote, tweeted, quote, the Black National Anthem does not belong at the Super Bowl. We already have a national anthem and it includes everyone. That's what she said. And of course she has her supporters because there were plenty of people who spoke up on her behalf. And obviously Kerry Lake was one of them. Boebert was another, along with several others, because they felt that the Black National Anthem was, quote, a manufactured push for segregation. You see, before I say anything else.
Now, obviously, I let that clip run a little bit longer, and of course, it was edited down. The actual segment is roughly 16 minutes. It will be in the description box like always, and you guys can go watch it. And if you feel like I got something wrong, please watch the clip. Come back and please leave a comment in the comment section. We can have a discussion there. If you think I'm wrong, please say something. I'm always open to any form of criticism, or if somebody points out the fact that I got something wrong. If I got something wrong, I will come back and address it. If it's a difference of opinion, it's just the way that it is. But the thing is this right here. Stephen A., obviously, the full version of the clip, the full episode, he was calling out Megyn Kelly. He was calling out Kerry Lake because she was at the Super Bowl the previous year and she sat during the playing of Lift Up Every Voice and Sing. He's upset with Matt Gaetz. He's upset with Lauren Boebert because they said this is not the venue for this. Now, I have said this before. I said this in the previous video. The problem with this situation is the fact of the timing. The reason why people are upset is mostly because of the timing. Also, we live in a very divided nation. We need to unify, and the Star Spangled Banner covers everybody. I understand that there's a certain portion of the population that they want to divide against another, which, of course, we already know what that agenda is. We call it out every day here on this platform. But the idea is to try to make 12% of the population feel like they are not a part of the other 88 or the full 100. That right there is the reason why they're doing this. You see, you got to ask yourself a question about this particular topic. Was this topic relevant 5 or 6 years ago? No, it wasn't. Now, I will explain that more to you guys after this next segment, and I'll explain why it is that this entire issue is coming back up and exactly why it's, in particular, pretty daggone nasty and pretty daggone underhanded. But it's pretty obvious when you actually look into it. You can actually see exactly why it is they're pulling this entire issue out now, which is another reason why it is. This video is titled Stephen A. Smith Fails on Black Culture. And what I mean by black culture is that he fails on the current culture of today and the current problems of today. But we'll get to that here in a second. This is a lengthy video, so make sure you guys stick around for the full piece.
Let me first say, I'm sick and tired of folks out there, particularly in the black community, being so quick to throw out the word racism. When you throw out the word racism, do me a favor. Have more evidence before you do it so it can't be dismissed via plausible deniability or something else. I don't know Megyn Kelly at all. Okay? I don't find her statement to be racist. I find it to be, in her eyes, patriotic. I find it to be, in her eyes, self-righteous. I find her to be a bit detached from reality being faced by black Americans everywhere. I got that part. But I can't go in the way that I wanted to go in about her when people are out there from my community just throwing out the word racist. You don't know that about her. You don't know that about her. And when you say something like that, you dilute the potency and
Before I let him go any further, because obviously you guys heard that, and there's a lot you could talk about here, but I think the most important thing is that most people can obviously decipher where he's going to go. Here's the thing, and this right here is the reason why I'm bringing this up. The song Lift Up Every Voice and Sing has been around since 1919. Ever since the 1900s, people say that it's written as a commemoration to Abraham Lincoln's birthday. I'm not going to get too far into that. I've read into a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of different opinions on the topic. My issue with it is this here. I think the timing of it, especially at this moment in time, is the problem. Also, the fact that the Star Spangled Banner, quite frankly, covers everybody. But before we go any further, let me ask you guys a question. Did you guys know about Juneteenth before 2020? Seriously, please tell me in the comment section. I would really and truly love to hear your thoughts on this. Now, me, I actually knew about the song Lift Up Every Voice and Sing. I'll tell you how I knew about it. It's a movie it was a movie that was made back in 2000, well, actually released in 2002. The film was called The Sum of All Fears. There is a sequence where they're playing what appears to be the national anthem at an arena football league game. It's the scene right before Baltimore gets nuked, or the bomb goes off in Baltimore Harbor. The president is escorted out. Morgan Freeman's character, he's on the phone. He's talking to Ben Affleck. And the song that's playing in the background is actually Lift Up Every Voice and Sing, not the national anthem. They chose to obviously use it in that film for whatever reason. Okay, it is what it is. Most people did not know what the song was. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, when they went to the movie theater to see that film, they were probably wondering what song this is. Maybe they looked into it, maybe they did not. Still at the same time, though, if you were going to incorporate something like this, maybe you should have done this back in the 60s or the 70s. Maybe you should have put it alongside another. Either way, they didn't do this. It makes you wonder about the timing. The timing of this song being played at the current Super Bowl or being played at the previous few Super Bowls and the reaction to it is really more or less a result of people waking up and realizing that the NFL is playing a large part of the agenda that's being played at hand. I talked about this in the previous video that I'll also link that in the description box, how it is that those who are upset that there's not enough, let's just say, black faces in management, black faces in the league itself, a league that's, by the way, 70% African-American. By the way, I'm proud of all these people because they obviously came from some very, very bad situations. Yes, I know people are going to try to call me racist or whatever, but we'll get to that here soon because Darrell Scott, of course, when you criticize him, this is the line he went with. The thing is this right here. The timing of this entire situation is obviously what people are a little bit confused about. Why bring it up now? We live in a divided nation. It feels like you're trying to separate. Maybe you're trying to separate the group even more, or maybe you're trying to outright replace somebody else. Now, I opened this segment by asking you guys if you remember Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a holiday obviously designed to commemorate the Tulsa Massacre. Don't worry, we will do a video on that because there's definitely a lot to get into there and a lot of gaslighting with that too. The thing is this right here though. In said holiday, it is a holiday that is primarily, and I mean this, celebrated in Oklahoma and Texas. But they brought it up in 2020. They brought it up during Black Lives Matter. They brought it up during the Black Lives Matter riots. And of course, there's actually the story to go behind this because they tried to make it political. And they tried to trap the Trump campaign with that. We'll get to that in the video. But you didn't know about it till then. Now, my immediate thinking was, when I heard about Juneteenth, was, wow, I guess we're going to have a Juneteenth sale every year in the month of June, even though you already have Father's Day sales when it comes to these retail stores. So obviously something's a little off here. But then we get to this part here.
I may not like it. Megyn Kelly, if you're watching, you're listening, I don't like what you said at all. I think it comes across as highly insensitive. You cannot take into account history. You cannot acknowledge, because you are a historian. I've heard you. I've watched you. I've listened to you. Profound respect for you. I've even listened to your interview, your lengthy interview with my former colleague at ESPN, Sage Steele, who a lot of people don't like, but I respect and I like because I've known Sage Steele for nearly 30 years. It doesn't mean I agree with everything she says. I certainly don't agree with all of her politics, but I've known her for years and I respect her. What I'm saying to you, however, Megyn Kelly, I'm only bringing up her name to let you know I've listened to you on many occasions. We run across each other during my visits at Fox News in the past. And respect is obviously something you should require because your body of work is that significant. I get it. but you ain't black. You haven't been marginalized and ostracized and treated in the manner that black people have been treated. Now, as a woman, you have certainly had your challenges. Last time I checked, the person who gave you the most grief about being a woman was the former president of the United States, who's the front runner for the GOP nomination. He's the one that was very disrespectful.
Now, really quick, before we go any further, I do want to say this right. When he says that I don't expect white people to get this, I don't expect white people to get this, I would love to say, you know what, you're right. I get it. Get it. You know, I'm constantly persecuted. We're constantly persecuted by the police, and, you know, we don't get the jobs, yada, 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 yada. Okay, right now you're the only group that thinks you should get a job based upon your skin color, okay? If you keep droning on and on and on about it, after a while, people are just going to kind of like, here we go again. What I'm saying, Stephen A., is this right here. If you really and truly want people to understand, you need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and actually move forward. That's just what you need to do. I know it sounds a little bit out of touch, but quite frankly, I don't care. The thing is this right here. Right now, you have a culture that is glorifying people like George Floyd, that's deifying people like that. They're just deifying criminals at this moment in time. So, of course, people, average people, whether they're white, Hispanic, by the way, nobody seems to get you. It's not just white people. It's Hispanics, it's Asians, it's pretty much everybody. If you continue to deify these types of people that I just mentioned, after a while, people are just going to roll their eyes at you, and they're just going to kind of like just be dismissive of you. The truth be told is you're actually creating more racism with this type of crap here, because people just walk away from you because they already know that people like you are just race hustlers and race baiters. I mean, it's obviously what you're doing is just trying to create this sense that 12% of the nation's not welcome, when in reality, you need to be, I don't know, maybe motivating people to do a lot better. Maybe you should be doing that right there to kind of see that they are part of the country. Also, something else too, I want to go ahead and make this point perfectly clear before I go any further. You're not a slave anymore, okay? You're not a slave anymore. You haven't been a slave for years, so stop it. Slaves in the United States don't exist anymore. Just go ahead and get that notion out of the way. You'll hear me say it again when we talk about Darrell Scott in a minute. A very combative relationship. Megyn Kelly stayed home. She did not vote for Trump in 2016. And to my knowledge, she didn't vote for him in 2020, but yes, she's going to vote for him in 2024. You see, the thing is this right here. It's called forgiveness. It's called getting over something, okay? Is this the most important thing in today's society? You see, the narrative that's being pushed by the media is that slavery is still going on. Don't worry, we'll talk more about that in my video on reparations and the reparations grift. The idea is to try to make 12% of the population feel like they're still enslaved when obviously they're not. Slavery ended when the Civil War ended. Not only did that happen, but after Jim Crow was over with, eventually you had the Civil Rights Act, which I think may have contributed to the problems that some people do. Actually, I take that back. It's not really the Civil Rights Act. It's really the Great Society Act that I think really has contributed to it. But that's another video for another day. The fact of the matter is this right here. They're continuing to go with the faux, false racism narrative when obviously the national anthem covers everybody. The idea is try to disenfranchise 12% of the population and make 12% of the population feel like they are not welcome in their own nation when obviously they are. The racism grift has been going on for a very long time. It's kind of like I said in the previous video. If you really and truly want this type of stuff to go away, just simply stop talking about it. Go down the road, talk to your neighbor, go to the bar, go talk to your neighbor, go talk to somebody you know. You will find out that the division is not as deep as you think. It's mostly media manufactured, and people like Stephen A. Smith are doing this. But back to the whole point of Stephen A. Smith failing on black culture and failing on his own culture. Pay attention.
You have all these issues in this country when it comes to black people. A lot of it self-inflicted. Why are we so worried about a Black National Anthem? Why is that at the top of the priority list when there's so many other issues with black folks that I think black people should be concerned about? You got people boohoo whining and crying, losing their minds over David Lucas making a joke about George Floyd, who was a criminal, by the way, right? They trying to act like George Floyd was some type of civil rights activist in regards to how they defended him and going after David Lucas. But when it comes to the actual criminals, when it comes to the people that are actually really hurting black folks, killing black folks, they got no smoke for those people. No smoke whatsoever. They ain't got nothing to say. Cricket, silence. But let a comedian make a joke about a criminal And all of a sudden, these people, they're hurt, they're upset. They coming out the woodwork with all the smoke.
That right there is Greg Foreman, Black Conservative Perspective. Now, I've had some people try to say that maybe I'm trying to copy him because I wear my hat backwards, even though I've been wearing my hat backwards long before Greg was even around. I didn't even know it was Greg's channel until 2021. He's a channel that's growing, and he's obviously a very, very bright, very, very smart guy. I mean, I think this guy is probably one of the best political commentators on the platform, and yet for whatever reason, the YouTube algorithm and his video show, obviously because I watch his content, listen to him, but I really truly think he needs more of a following than, say, the officer Brandon Tatum and maybe even Jericho Green, another person who, quite frankly, I think is extremely underrated on the platform. These voices obviously need to be out there. They're actually going out of their way to try to save black culture and save black people. Stephen A. Smith's not doing that. He's over here talking about the Black National Anthem and the response to the Black National Anthem, which makes you think, once again, that it's the bouge class out there running their mouth. But still, though, at the same time, though, this same disconnect also showed up here recently. You see, apparently a comedian got in trouble, a black comedian got in trouble for making a joke about George Floyd. And, of course, this is the response that he got.
You're more than welcome to do that.
You're not getting clicks off my name for free.
Sir, who are you? No one knows about you.
So how you call my mom?
Sir, you had to get a name by disparaging black folk.
Bro,
No, sir, that's how you're getting a name.
I don't want peons like you to
Sir, you have no respect for the black community.
I have a lot of respect for the
No,
black
you don't.
community.
You disrespected Dr. King.
No respect for the black
You
community.
disrespected black...
A criminal on a pedestal.
Sir, you disrespected Dr. King.
Of course I did. It's called a joke.
It's not a joke. There's nothing funny about what you do.
Hey,
And I'm certain that the King Center doesn't find it funny either.
I don't want them to find me funny.
No, we're talking about your remark. Whether you're funny or not, no one cares. It's the things that you're saying about the black community that cannot be and won't be tolerated.
How many people think it's funny that you're homosexual?
Sir?
Listen to your voice. You're not manly at all. I feel bad.
Sir, we're talking about the things you said. Sir, I just hung up on him because you're not getting no airtime over here. No one knows you, dude. You're not a celebrity. No one knows you. Okay? Now.
He does realize he's in a one-party state. I mean, you're in a one-party state, but either way.
Don't educate him the law. Don't educate him on the law. He's an idiot, and he's going to find out the hard way. He's a useful idiot.
I mean, but if he was in the space, he could come into space, right? His email where you try to book him is not valid. It doesn't work, right? I tried that. I also tried to find a number to look him up and so I could call him and give him a call, right? Wasn't expecting that to be,
Obviously, there's a lot of vitriol here. Obviously, people are upset about that because they obviously still take this stuff. I mean, it's designed to be taken serious, and we should take it serious. But the thing is this right here. It seems to me like we're more interested in defending somebody who was a criminal who, quite frankly, died more as a result of his own actions than we are at the actual root cause and the root issue itself. This is part of the reason why it is that I think this push for the Black National Anthem is a little bit, let's just say, the timing is questionable. The intentions are definitely questionable. And I don't think that someone like, say, Megyn Kelly is wrong for pointing this out. I don't think somebody's wrong for getting upset and saying, hey, look, we have one national anthem. You're already under it. What are you trying to say? Then again, though, you will get a rant like what I'm about to show you now that really encapsulates the entire situation. As I said before in this video, I expected this type of nonsense out of Stephen A. Smith. However, there's a recent personality that I've talked about before that I didn't realize how bad it was. Enter Pastor Daryl.
Segment featuring our SmackDown of the Week. Third runner-up for SmackDown of the Week is I'm going to give out a collective SmackDown to the grand old party, the Republican Party, because we have become the party of whining. And whiners, man, we always whining about something. And I'm being honest, I'm sick of all this whining. I'm sorry, I ain't built like that. Right. Whining all the time. Y'all whine so much, y'all got me whining about us whining. They whined about Barbie. whining about DEI, whining about Bud Light beer, whining about the Super Bowl and who's playing it, whining about the song being sung in the Super Bowl. And now the latest whine of the week, the existential crisis to the fabric of American society. They whining about Taylor Swift, man.
Well, geez, Pastor, this right here ain't what the hell you were saying in your Twitter feed. Guys, I'm showing you guys the tweets from Mr. Scott. I got into it with him over this past couple of days, and I've had a little bit of fun with this, exposing this guy for who the hell he is. As a matter of fact, most of the people who followed him pretty much got a pretty good glimpse of who this guy really and truly is. It says that he is a minister. It says he is an advisor to the former president, the current Republican nominee, Donald Trump. And if I was Trump, I would kick this guy off my campaign right away. The truth be told about Daryl Scott is this: where the only reason why he even got himself attached to the Trump team is because Trump promised to remove the tax provisions on the church, which I understand and agree with the former president on. He thought it was kind of jacked up that the church was being taxed. Daryl Scott's been with him ever since, and you probably think, okay, maybe he really and truly is loyal to this writer. But then this same guy also got upset with us and people who were calling out the Black National Anthem fiasco, basically saying, look, you know, you're already under one flag. You don't need another anthem. You don't need to call it an anthem. Of course, he originally said it was a hymn, and of course, people took it out of context. But still, at the same time, though, maybe you should kind of help out with us, maybe join us in calling out the mainstream media for calling it, because it's really the mainstream media that call it the Black National Anthem. It's really the NFL who was using it to help divide the nation. Okay, people obviously saw how divisive it was, and people obviously called it out for the nonsense that it was. Maybe you should actually help out with that. But then when you say something like what I'm showing you now, of course, this was a response to him posting something about Confederate flags. Then these people typically tend to show you who they really and truly are. And if I didn't say this already with somebody bringing up Confederate flags, you're not a slave anymore, okay? You're not a slave anymore, okay? You're part of the 100%. Maybe you should kind of accept that. Stop trying to act like you're your own, okay? You're a part of American society. The national anthem covers everybody. And once again, you're not a slave anymore. So two things happened in this exchange. Number one, I got called a racist. Okay, I kind of expected that anyways. Number two, obviously the Confederate flags. Guys, I'm from the South. Okay, I've been around Confederate culture, Civil War history my entire life. I've told you guys before, I don't believe the statue should be taken down unless maybe it's something like, say, in Iowa where you had a satanic statue up in a building that, quite frankly, doesn't need to be up in. Maybe that right there is a case where, hey, look, maybe you should remove that one. But I don't think statues should be removed. I mean, I had a lot of people talk about the whole Joe Paterno issue. I remember when that was, the whole Jerry Sandusky stuff. Even in that case there, I was not okay with statues being removed at Penn State because you can't change what happened there. Same thing happens with Confederate statues. You can't change what happened there. Battles were fought, things happen. It's designed, you look at it, look, this is where we came from. We'll do a bigger video on this at a later date. But the thing is this right here. Confederate flags, Black National Anthem, I think it's apples to oranges for a multitude of reasons. First of all, we don't put Confederate flags up at schools. We don't put them up at churches or whatnot. We don't typically have them in places of business. Some people have them obviously for memorabilia purposes, and me, of course, being from the South, which, by the way, if I get a chance to collect some rare memorabilia, I have a thick American flag. I have at least 2 or 3 other American flags. I also have an American flag with a Confederate flag spliced that was given to me as a Christmas present. Obviously, I'm not going to get rid of that because it was a Christmas present as a gift. And I also have another old school Confederate flag, which, by the way, the Confederate flag that's being seen there is actually the battle flag. The flag was carried into battle, not the actual flag of the Confederacy. These people oftentimes get this stuff wrong. For the most part, it's memorabilia. It's about Southern pride, but nobody really and truly puts it above the United States. It's not the way things work. So the comparison that he made there obviously wasn't very strong, was kind of dumb. And then, of course, he goes back to the whole, well, you're racist for calling this out. No. If anything, we're telling the truth. We're telling you that you are obviously a part of this nation. You were born here, so therefore you automatically already fall under the Star-Spangled Banner. You already fall under that. That's your national anthem, too. Like I said before, Stephen A. Smith's entire situation is designed to make 12% of the population feel like they're not a part of the population when obviously they are. But then again, though, we just whine about Bud Light, whine about Taylor Swift, stuff like that there. The only thing we're doing is we're just calling out the BS. Bud Light was actually a pretty big issue because they basically disrespected their entire customer base. Okay? Some people were never going to forgive Bud Light. It's just the truth of the matter. Yes, this light's getting a little bit too bright. I'm going to change it in mid-video. But the thing is this right here. we're just simply calling out the BS, and you're over here playing right into the BS. You need to be on the sidelines with us calling it out. But then I realized that when I say, you know what, maybe you should go join the Haley campaign, I realized that this guy right here really and truly is very, very much a bad actor. And I really and truly wish that the Trump campaign would see this and get him out of there. Because at the end of the day, the whole entire purpose behind his entire purpose, his entire existence, is just to wokeify the Republican Party. He also got called out, or he did also got called out over diversity, equity, inclusion. Apparently, he's in favor of that, something you may want to watch out for. So we're definitely going to be doing more videos on this faux pastor here in the future. Please, guys, tell me what you guys think in the comment section. I've got one more video that I'm making tonight that's going to be released on Thursday. Yes, I'm going to be going back to Bill Maher because obviously Bill Maher is not very bright, and I want to actually hit him one more time and show you that exactly why it is that even some people in his own ploy think he's an idiot. Don't worry, we'll be covering that on Thursday. Like I said, I'll be out of town on Wednesday, most of Thursday. I should be back on Thursday night. And I'll probably have a video out on Friday, which actually there'll definitely be a video out on Friday. I just don't know if I'm going to make it tomorrow morning or if I'm going to make it on Friday. But make sure you guys please stick around for that. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I would love to get you guys' thoughts on this, and I'll see you guys later.